The film opens on a lonely, snow-covered house deep in Minnesota. Inside, an elderly woman named Barb sits silently in front of her husband's ashes, her eyes heavy with sorrow. She gently picks up an old photograph, a memory from their younger days, smiling together in the snow. Haunted by the memory of the day they first met, Barb knows what she must do. She grabs a small bag, packs a few essentials, and places that precious photo on her truck's dashboard. Her mission is sacred: to fulfill her husband's final wish, scatter his ashes in the frozen lake where their love story began. Outside, a storm rages. The radio crackles with warnings, urging people to stay indoors. But Barb presses on, the road ahead vanishing beneath waves of falling snow. Her truck struggles against the icy wind until finally she's forced to stop. Lost and frustrated, she checks her map. Then, a distant crash echoes across the white silence. Her instincts take over. Barb climbs back into the truck and drives toward the sound, until she finds an old cabin in the middle of nowhere. Outside, an old man chops wood, but something is wrong. Dark stains, blood, mark the snow near his feet. Barb approaches carefully. "Sorry," she says softly. "Didn't mean to startle you. I just need directions to the lake." The man points. "Over that hill." Barb nods, but her eyes linger at the blood. "Are you okay? There's blood here." He waves it off. "Deer blood." Barb hesitates, then smiles politely. "Take care of yourself." She drives off. At last, Barb reaches the frozen lake, the same place where she and her husband once shared laughter and love. Tears freeze on her cheeks as she remembers the fishing trips, the quiet evenings, the promise they made under that vast winter sky. But just as she opens the urn, a gunshot splits the silence. Barb ducks behind her truck. Across the lake, she sees a young girl running, and behind her, the old man, rifle in hand, shouting threats. "If you run, I'll kill you!" Barb panics. She tries to call for help, but there's no signal. Her truck won't start, stuck in the snow. With no other choice, she sets out on foot, following the man's tracks back to the cabin. When she arrives, his truck is gone. Barb peers through a basement window. In there, she sees the girl, bound and gagged. She whispers, "Are you alone?" The girl nods, terrified. Then, headlights cut through the storm. 2 cars pull up. The old man returns, and this time his wife is with him, also armed. Barb hides, listening through the walls as their voices drift into the night. The horrifying truth becomes clear. The couple kidnapped the girl, and they planned to kill her. Barb writes a message with her finger on the frosty window. "I'm here. I won't leave you." Then she runs back to her truck, desperate to think of a plan. Inside the cabin, the wife's nose suddenly starts bleeding. She notices a glove lying outside, and Barb's message written on the glass. Realizing someone's there, she grabs her gun. "Who was that woman who came earlier?" she hisses. The old man stammers, "Just a stranger. Asked for directions." "If she saw anything, we're finished," the wife whispers coldly. They load up and head toward the lake to find Barb. Barb is ready. She set a trap, an old ice fishing shed hiding a deep hole beneath the snow. When the old man steps forward, the ice gives way and he plunges into the freezing water. Barb races to the cabin, smashes the basement door, and frees the girl, only to discover she's chained to the wall. "Hold on," Barb promises. "I'll get you out." She runs upstairs, floods the house to destroy everything inside, and as she turns to leave, a gunshot rings out. The wife's bullet grazes Barb's hand. Bleeding, Barb vanishes into the storm. The couple return to chaos. The house flooded, the fire dead, the temperature dropping fast. The old man shivers violently, slipping into shock. Meanwhile, Barb tends to her wound inside her truck, until she realizes her wedding ring is gone. Panic hits. She rushes back to the lake, but the ring is nowhere. Grief overwhelms her until she spots the old man's gun lying abandoned in the snow. Her sorrow hardens into resolve. "I have to save that girl." She grabs the gun and heads back. At the same time, the old man and his wife argue. He wants to stop. She refuses. Her obsession has gone too far. She plans to kill the girl and harvest her liver to save herself. In a fit of rage, she shoots her husband and drives off toward the lake with the kidnapped girl. Barb, now armed and wounded, sneaks into the cabin again. The girl is gone. Barb finds medical tools, stitches her hand, and radios a distress call through the old man's truck. But before she can finish, the old man, barely alive, attacks. In a brutal fight, Barb grabs the axe and strikes his leg. With his own gun, she shoots him. Crying, he finally confesses everything. "My wife, she's sick. She made me do it. I didn't want this." Barb helps him one last time. "If you're truly sorry, go get the police." He nods and leaves, limping into the snow. Moments later, his wife finds him and kills him in cold blood. As dawn approaches, Barb returns to her truck, exhausted but determined. She sees the flashing lights of police cars approaching. 2 officers rush in, but before they can react, the killer woman steps out and guns them down. A violent shootout erupts. Barb wounds the woman in the leg, runs for cover, but the woman fires wildly, collapsing the roof of the cabin. Barb is knocked unconscious. When she wakes up, she's tied in the basement beside the girl, Leah. Upstairs, the woman prepares for a grotesque operation by the lake, a liver transplant to save herself. Barb offers, "Take mine, spare her." She sneers, "You're too old to save me." As the woman turns her back, Barb loosens Leah's restraints, slipping a sharp nail into her hand. Then, as the operation begins, Barb attacks, stabbing the woman with scissors. The lantern falls, flames roar. The 2 women struggle desperately as the fire spreads. The gun clicks empty. In one final act of courage, Barb handcuffs herself to the killer and drags her into the icy pit beneath the frozen lake. Leah escapes the burning tent, screaming her name, but Barb is gone. In her final breath beneath the ice, Barb releases her husband's ashes into the water, completing his final wish. As dawn breaks, Leah finds the old photograph of Barb and her husband near the lake. She clutches it tightly, walking away as the snow falls quietly around her. The screen fades to a memory of Barb and her husband, young and full of joy, smiling for that same picture by the lake. A beautiful, heartbreaking ending. A story of love, loss, and redemption, where one woman's final act of courage becomes her eternal peace.